It's the Real Angler Show, live here on Rough Edge FM. And now, here's your host, Kevin Brennan. Well, hello, everybody.
I was muted.
You were still dancing, though. I saw you dancing. What's going on, gentlemen? How are you today?
Oh, yeah. It's that... We are doing okay. We have trying to do something a one-off today. We have a student from UC, yeah, that's a tongue twister. Say it again.
CSU Channel Islands.
There you go. My bad. But we're going to do an interview over an interview. And you're in the I'll let him introduce. Well, his name is Eduardo Sanchez. He is going to be interning here from the university, one of our partnerships, and I'm going to let him tell us what his what your classes are, what class this is, because I'm still learning. There's different nonprofits that are on the campus, so they're not all the same. And sometimes I think, only been in there for 2 semesters. We try to have one of the students last year do what Will was doing, but it was a different course, so their objective is different. So we're still learning the process to make sure that we're getting the best out of our intern and our student while teaching him and developing him in nonprofit, but making sure that the course that he's taken is, that we're maximizing that. So good morning, Eduardo.
Good morning, everyone. So yeah, I go to CSU Channel Islands. I'm currently a full-time student. I'm a communication major, or comm specifically, and then I'm going to minor in business. One of my main courses that I'm taking right now, the reason why I'm here is my nonprofit management. It's been a lot of work. It's definitely a really cool class because I learned a lot about nonprofit and what they do. Because outside of it, I think everybody has their own view of what nonprofit does because of the big dogs that own the scene. But I really like coming here. It's a lot smaller of a place. It's really intimate. You get to meet people, talk to people. It's pretty close to the school, so it's not too bad. So I'm just happy to be here.
And what are you looking for?
Got a question, Scotty?
I do. And folks, we're sorry, we have a delay going on here today, but we're gonna push through it. Eduardo, what are you looking for to discover, to learn, to advance yourself with the Guppy program?
So my main goal that our course is looking to get out of this is basically just working on a program and executing it. That way we get more practice in real world. So whether that be a small project or something like the open house they got going on, it's just about helping out so we get that real world experience to then take that onto our jobs after school.
Okay, and that makes
we're going to utilize
sense.
His, Go ahead, Scotty.
I was just going to say, I think you chose the right place to do it. The Real Guppy program is one of those programs that, as you said, deals with actual real people in real time in a smaller way, not some giant, Salvation Army kind of Goodwill kind of way. And you're going to meet the people individually, and you get to work with somebody like Kevin, who's done this for years and who's not only learned it his whole life, but has created and maintained it on his own, made it better than it may have been in the past.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely have some classmates, actually, that you said that. One of them's working with the Red Cross, and they're basically just doing online work of putting in paperwork. So that's really just getting the job done. They're not really going to gain much from that. But yeah, I met Kevin. He replied right away. Ever since I started talking to him, it's been a great time. So I'm just happy to be here.
I shocked him when he came in with the letting him know that he was going to do an interview for an interview, But I asked his permission before we threw him on here to let him know what we're doing, and I gave him a quick, about a 12 or 15-minute overview of what we do. I gave him the sheet that I wrote out, from an entrepreneur and nonprofit founder versus, different executive directors. I've worked at other nonprofits that, you have, they come and they go versus from the actual founder and having the vision. Here, hold on, we have some guests that came in, Marshall. Yeah, so we're in the studio, man. We got people in the background, and we got a new intern here. But anyway, I just try to bring him up to speed without pouring too much on him at one time of what we're going to do. But knowing what his interests are, it was cool because within the first 5 minutes, him talking about how they're already learning how nonprofit, the beast of what people's perception is and think a nonprofit needs to be ran, kind of what we talked about last week, Scotty. So to hear him come that's what they're teaching in their class is pretty cool because, again, you can see there is a shift in nonprofit as far as how business is really done. You can't have staff and programming and all the stuff that you want to do and then pay your people next to nothing because it's a nonprofit, so it seems like he's already coming in with some training and teaching. And I also asked him to showcase and share what he's learning because, again, we don't know it all here either. So whatever nugget. So again, another way that we can we all value of it, and then give him his paperwork to show him all the different ways that we're going to try to teach him different lessons through the course, again, versus just doing data entry and stuff,
It's truly a hands-on situation. And Eduardo, did you have any experience, or were you a fisherman before you decided to come into this, or is this something that you were just more interested in the nonprofit side of it?
So my family was never big into fishing, so we never took like actual fishing trips unless it was like a family member that invited us. And I do have like a few memories of going fishing. Oh, we used to actually go to like little trout ponds and fish trout to get, but that doesn't really count as like real fishing. It was like super easy, but it was always a lot of fun.
Thank you for saying that.
I mean, you would throw the cast in, and then you would get the net, and 3 would jump in the net for you. Yeah. So
catching starfish isn't the same as fishing, but anyway, that's why we do what we do. Go ahead. Sorry.
So yeah, I mean, that was a lot of fun. So I was like, when my professor told me about Kevin, and like I looked in a little bit into it, Professor Yoon, Hyun-Suk Yoon.
Okay.
She remembered you. Yeah. Right. She was like, oh, talk to Kevin. Like,
look at that, right by away. Name, community Kevin, household name, baby.
Yeah. So she right away told me talk to Kevin. I looked into it. I was like, yeah, this looks like a lot of fun. It was funny because I have a friend who's really into fishing, and he's been trying to get me to go out fishing with them. And I was like, yeah, we should go out one day. And then a couple weeks later, this happened. So it's just really funny.
But we talked to him with Scotty about how we believe in as far as we've gotten about there's no coincidence. I told him we're a faith-based organization, really. I don't walk around here preaching the word of God and dropping scripture on folk, but I definitely testify on how it seems like the way that we run, the way the universe flows for us, is meant to be, So it just makes sense that, his story resonates so far in the first 20 minutes of talking on the phone and reading his email that it was going to be a good fit, So we're excited, man.
And again, let me ask both of you this.
Go out and catch the memories and fish.
Yeah, exactly. Now he can do that. So let me ask you this, because and this question is really for both of you, because according to the email, I believe that Eduardo sent you, he said that he's looking for not limited to aspects like fundraising strategies, but strategic planning, attending a board staff meeting, shadowing an employee of the organization, community outreach, event planning, coordination, administrative support, volunteering at an event, marketing campaigns, etc. Is that something, Kevin, that you think you're going to be able to help him with on every single level? Or is that something that some things in there that he may have to look elsewhere for? I know the answer. I'm just asking you.
I think we could do all of that. We could do all of that. It's a matter of just our time capacity with him. He's only got one semester. So, but yeah, see, and that's why I like working with Scotty, because he wanted all the information on you so that he's well prepped for the show. Because I kind of go more off the cuff, where Scotty has his laptop open with our notes and stuff, to keep me looking good and safe. But so he already has a little bit of knowledge of who you are, of what you sent me. And yeah, Scotty, we're gonna utilize that because the word that I was teaching him so far today, development is strategy, right? So how do everything that we do, and what I do is I tell my team about 3 steps ahead of where I'm at, because I'm usually 5 or 6 steps ahead of my strategies of where we're going and what's connected to what. But showcasing him through all of that, whichever highlights we take from that beautiful resume, that it's built into one of our strategies, and then he knows what the strategy is, so that he understands, again, it's what assignments they are and why we're going to pick those out of his list of what we should target in the short amount of time that we do have, again, without trying to overload them with everything, give them what we can maximize off that list that goes to our strategies, and then teaching him so he sees why it's important to build on strategies, you know? I'm not saying he doesn't know that now, but at least that's what he's going to get from me.
Right. No, that makes
Or
perfect
us.
sense. Yeah. And Eduardo, is that what you're looking for? Do you feel comfortable that that the
So what about
Guppy
you?
program?
Well, yeah, that was definitely music to my ears. But basically, me, something in my life is really, it's just strategy, having things planned out, so it's not a surprise.
I lost you guys there for a second. Would you mind repeating that, Eduardo? I'm
You
sorry.
cut off a little bit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, something happened. No, that's all right. Something happened. Just say that again, what you said, because it sounded great, what I heard.
Scotty, can you hear us?
I can. Am I broke up? I think we got a connection problem there, folks.
The last thing you said actually cut off.
Oh, I was just asking you to
The
repeat
last
what
thing
you
you said
previously
cut
said.
off. The question that you asked.
Okay. Let's just move on. We'll go to the next thing here then. So Eduardo, what are your long-term goals? Are you looking to find a position in a nonprofit place? Are you planning on starting one of your own one of these days? What are your long-term goals?
It's definitely something that before this class I never took into consideration, honestly. But after starting the class and seeing how nonprofits are changing what they offer and how really like it's the people that can change it and the perspective, just having good people like Kevin and the right mindset. But yeah, I started thinking about it after that class, how definitely like something in nonprofit is just a lot more satisfying, to me at least. Money isn't like the most important thing, but obviously it keeps you going.
No money, no mission.
But it's just good feeling that like you're making other people happy and helping other people out.
Yeah, you got to really be in nonprofit. And I was teaching them that already, how we have the for-profit and the nonprofit. The way things have always been done doesn't mean you have to do it that way. You know, you could modify. We try to have fun with our fundraisers. For one, really stay in front of our donors, you know, through Network for Good and the different platforms that we have and Facebook. Like, how do you use these modern day tools, to get your messaging across? But also, how do you be constructive to raise funds when you need to? How do you make it so it's not the same, oh, let's just pass the hat around rubber chicken luncheons? Or, you know, how can you stretch outside the box? And that's what we teach here, is get out the box, you know, just the way, you know, you go grants, maybe you go big fundraiser once or twice a year, a gala to cover it. You know, how do you stay within the means? But because again, we say no money, no mission, but we don't want to lose the fire of the excitement because we're looking under every rock for a quarter, you know? And that's why, again, I strategize on a for-profit. One of the things he was saying, I'll let him talk about it when he first got here, was how a for-profit gets cheered on and nonprofit, you know, you're not supposed to have anything, you know? Again, pay your people a minimum wage. The director shouldn't make very much money, no money for programming. We just want to buy supplies, and that's where you should spend all your money. But where were you, you know, if you want to go into some of that?
So it's just one of the things we covered in class that I found really interesting was basically if you're a for-profit and you just pay minimum wage and you do the bare minimum, but you're making a lot of profit, and you get cheered on, especially as a CEO, you'll get cheered on. You get to get the big pay raises, you get the nice car, the nice house, but you're screwing over a lot of people, and that still gets cheered
Corporate.
on. But then if you go into the nonprofit side of things, if the CEO of a nonprofit's driving a nice car, it's a different look. Like if you pay that minimum wage, oh, you're terrible, or it's just never enough. Nothing that you will do will ever be enough, and you can't compare. And it's
You hear that?
something that's been changing, and I think there's a lot of nonprofits now that are trying to look at the other way of it, and a lot of for-profits are realized. I think a lot of people are just like maturing to that idea.
Let me just jump in and finish up with Scotty. So a couple of reasons why we changed ours, right? I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and the book 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, they talked about the knowledgeable worker like in the 1920s, you know? And right now we do have a new revolution. It's a digital, you know, evolution or revolution or whatever I'm trying to say, right? Where you pay, I mean, people used to have to fight to get a lunch break, right? A 15-minute break. They had to form unions because corporations forgot how to take care of people and treat people like people first. Then you get into the nonprofit side of things, where I actually had a friend of mine, one of his board members walked out because he asked for a salary. They thought he shouldn't be getting a salary, you know, and it's just crazy. And I tell him, hey, you know, but what happens is you get people that freeze. You know, our friend Adam Casillas, we used to say this when we were starting, when he was on our board of directors, was, you know, paralysis by analysis. And I had to research that because I don't know big words, but basically paralyzed on what you do because of the fear of what people are saying. So him to first thing out of his mouth coming through the door was great, because at least they're teaching that now, because these new decision makers and these new business owners that are coming out have to have that type of mental philosophy to go into business, because you don't want to go into it's a beast as it is, but you don't want to get so burned out chasing change and being overlooked in the way you make your maneuvers for that. So I was really thrilled to hear him say that when he first came through the door.
Yeah, that sounds like you guys are thinking on the same page. And going back to the way you to what you said earlier and what I said earlier about how you, Adam Casillas, and Brian of Mission Fish, all you guys think outside the box. You not only have taken the nonprofit and for-profit and whatever all you do and learn from the past, but you've all created things and changed things to make it different for how maybe it should be today.
Yeah, you know what comes with that, and I'm going to be teaching them this stuff, is how long me and Brian have lasted. Brian was, that's what I'm talking about. We're nonprofits where man can't even bring home a salary yet, and he wants to put all of his money into it. But you see him at these shows over these last month, giving up his time for 5 days to raise money to take people fishing. If you don't think people that are out, you see out here with their, living their mission and doing the work, that's where it's about, man. You funnel it through a filter of your mission and your vision. Is what you said you're going to do. You're doing it on a continuous basis. That speaks volumes, and that's all people should look at. But again, society's going to look at things the way they want to. But my point to that is, don't let that stop you from making your moves and your maneuvers. Basically, right, is what I'm trying to. Well, that's what I'm laying on you right now. But since you already got that mindset, it's good. I'm glad that they're teaching it, because one of the things that Jennifer from the university called me when we started talking is I'm intergenerational. So I talked to some folks that are, my mom's age and that age of how work was done. I'm in the middle. And then you have guys like you that are my kids' age that I could see their perspective on stuff, right? I'm not at an age yet where I'm condemning technology and these kids and, oh my God, this world's falling apart and these kids are lazy, like people in their 60s are doing right now. That congratulations, you turn into your grandfather about your music sucks and your hair's long. But I'm in that generational gap where I could hear what the old style and hear from the new style, and I'm comfortable enough with both and understand that it's an evolution, man. And if we don't grow, there's a thing that says no, if you publish or perish, So if you're not modifying and changing it and thinking of constructive, cool ways, and that's why if you're listening to this or talking to you, is the biggest push I could give anybody, and how we survive this long. One, we don't have fear. I told him when he comes across the threshold here, don't bring doubt or negativity through the door. We don't have room for it here. And then again, trying it. Why not? Don't be frozen. Think outside and think super gigantic. What could be fun? What can we do? And don't be stuck in the old model.
Eduardo, tell us a little bit.
To that. I mean,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Cover is just like the mission's so important. Like, get that mission done. There's no set rules.
Yeah, we have such a horrible internet signal right here. We only got 5 gigawatts of it.
Keep going.
You broke up all kinds, man. You really broke. You're breaking up bad. You gotta repeat all that.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it's the mission's really important. You got to get that mission done, but you also want to set something that you can accomplish, be realistic with it, and then just having the right people get that mission done. A lot of people will steer away from that mission to try to do better things, like get more money or certain things, and it's something that Kevin brought up. It's it's not worth it sometimes. You got to make sure the money's worth it, where it's coming from, who it's coming from, why it's coming, and what you can do with it.
Partnerships are huge, man, because with the term we're using right now is cross-pollinating, meaning that you take our resources, share them with them, share the messaging, partnerships, right? And I think that's so important. It's interesting because as the Chumash used to come to Port Hueneme and other Native Americans, keeping it tribal, is that you would share your resources, right? You get together. That's why Hueneme meant resting place. And that's where you'd get together, all the chiefs or wherever the men, and they would share their resources. And then you would go back to your village, and I'd go back to the ocean, and you'd go back to the Cespies, but we would share our resources. And that's, I think, an important part of doing business, but also in nonprofit, you have to utilize, because again, that way you're never, you're not putting all your eggs in a basket either, you know, and that you don't have to make maneuvers on strings because you're taking somebody's funding. Because I think what he was alluding to on that part, because we had the conversation. And that's it again. And also, what does you know, I look at food share a lot, right? They feed people. That's what they do. Give out food, right? And in our nonprofit, sometimes people want to come along and tell us, you know, what we should expanding on. But no, we went over the whole In-N-Out thing, right? What does In-N-Out sell? Burgers, shakes, and fries. And they got a line out the door. That's all they got. Burger, shakes, and fries. Really, really good and very well. And that's it, man. You know, so stay within your zone, stay within your mission and your vision. I'll try to pick up new assignments to get funding. And again, this is stuff that I'm not saying this without talking about my experiences, right? When I first started and taking funds and getting funds, or what I had to do to get funds, you know, I've experienced these things. So it's not like I'm just saying that. I just figured out a model of business that works for me. But then I meet with other CEOs from other nonprofits like Jacqueline, and they don't do any grants. They do all their fundraising different because there's so much obligation that comes with the grant. So again, be creative, think outside the box. Just everybody's doing it. But again, if you're like you say, follow the mission and the vision. It's not, you don't have, you can sleep at night, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I got a question. Enough of that stuff. What's your fishing story? Leah, fishing. Do you have any fishing stories that you want to bring up?
Yeah, so the one big one that stands out was probably like one of the only times I remember doing any real fishing. I honestly don't know where it was, but we went out to it was like a lake. I remember we were on the dock and they were trying to show me how to fish. And like, I think my favorite part was just like casting it out, but I had no idea what I was doing. And then just like reeling it in, I had no idea of like, no patience, I didn't know what type of bait I was using. I don't know what I was trying to catch. I would just threw it out there and just sat. And I think me and my dad knew absolutely nothing. And we just kind of sat there and caught nothing for a day. But it was still a great time for me. I think it was a little boring for him. It's not his favorite thing to do, but I thought it was great.
So if you notice our name of our book right there, see the kids on the boat? It says Catch a Memory. So that's what you guys are catching.
Yeah.
They're catching memories. So that's what I like to, even though, you know, we all like to catch fish. Whenever somebody gets doinked or they get skunked, then I thought the catch a memory thing, especially like who you're with, where you're at, all the little details. Again, it's like imprinted in your brain, and we never forget that. And that's what we try to create with our pro. That's what we do create. We don't use words like try or want to do's. We execute. Now, enough cockiness. Scotty threw us the text message because we have a little delay, so I think it's easier if he shoots. These are questions from Scotty. He wants to know about your course and your instructor.
Yeah. So it's a nonprofit management course. It's basically just like nonprofit 101, start to finish, like how to form one, the different like laws that go into place with it, the people you have to hire, your board, the relationship with like the board, the staff, the CEO, funding, how to push your mission out. And I think right now we're in this section where it's like strategic planning. Basically making sure that you get that strategy down. And one of the big ones is like the MEL strategy, which is just like a big like how-to for the nonprofit that like started with the board, the CEO, and it's important. I think if I'm trying to remember correctly, it's don't go top down. It's always really good to go bottom up. That way you get the right people in there. But my professor is Hyun Suk Yoon. I've never taken her before at Channel Islands, but she's really invested into this. She really likes it. She likes helping people out. She's a cool person. The class is a lot of work. It's basically like doing another capstone, which is like your senior project. For my communication, it's volunteer hours as well.
That's what Will had. We had his capstone with Jose.
Yeah,
and communication. That's what I asked you. Your professor was. And again, so when he came in with communication, we put him on Network for Good and putting all the people that we come in contact with right into our database, and then he helped us send all that stuff out for our first open house last year. So when the other student came in. I just thought it was the same thing. Again, I didn't go to university. I don't know what these terms mean. A capstone project is, my final project. You come in and say, hey, I got a project. I'm like, cool, let's get you to work. But you can't, knowing again what their project is and what they're doing, we could find more assignments for them to do versus again. Because if the next person comes in, I'm like, hey, I need you to pick up where Will left off, but that's not their course, then again, that's a disservice, because again, we don't want to be like that. We're just sticking them anywhere to get them an A. We want them to flourish at what their project should do, And then a good idea might be, maybe for some extra credit, is to invite that professor to our open house. Just going to throw that out there, let them see you in action. Plus, we like to showcase our partnerships a little bit, So feel free to invite anybody to your open house so they could see your work. Again, I don't know how many other nonprofits do that, right? You do your course and then never go out. But if you could bring your professor or your family. Oh, okay, we'll get your hat in a second. So is to showcase, come look at what I got done over here. Besides just turning in a paper or me sending a grade in on what you did, feel free to bring your peeps up in here so they could see. It's like a kid's open house, right? That's what I did, Mom. Look at my painting on the wall. So anyway, that'd be a good, you're welcome to do that. And thanks for laying that out. So again, I'm taking my notes to know, there it is right there. Oh, do we get to do a plug right now? All right. So 2-year celebration is going to be March 28th from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Guppy Learning Center, 2741 South Victoria. 2-year celebration focusing on partnerships, programming, public, and our programming. So again, one of our partnerships is the university, so we're going to have them there. I try to get the dean out here, see if he wants to throw elbows with me, and same with the CEO from Goodwill that we partner with. So try to go to the top as a CEO to get their CEOs and deans out. So again, that's your job through communication. Help us fill this house, bro.
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead.
But basically, my hat, it's a brand from Japan. It just says Denim Repair Goods and Service Capital Country, but that's just the brand. My friend's Japanese, and he'll bring me some stuff back. But it's a brand I really like. They do cool stuff.
So I like about these kids today, man. It seems like there's an open-mindedness that's going around right now with this era, which is pretty neat, Especially in our area in Southern California, where we have a lot of different cultures, man, we can learn from. Especially I'm sure on the university, right? You got a little bit of everybody sprinkled out there, and education has changed, from maybe higher scholar schools or who was taking over the colleges earlier in the day, right, versus integration of other cultures and stuff. I'm Black, white, and Portuguese, right? So I know segregation in this country and what it took for people to get to higher learning establishments. But in California specifically, we're California, man. They're all okay with everything, and that's got to be cool. That again, the acceptance and understanding and learning each other's cultures and then getting along that way,
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, like, I grew up down in Los Angeles. I went to Culver City High School, and I mean, I'm very lucky to grow up there, but it was so diverse that I didn't know how not diverse other places were. Mm-hmm. Like, I was just so used to, like, meeting people, different races, different places all the time. Like, coming up here to Ventura, it's not as diverse as it is down there. And then, luckily, I've been able to travel a little bit more, and it's just been, like, opening my eyes to so many different people and different, like, experiences, cultures. And it's really nice. Like, it's like that ability to be able to go across the world and speak Spanish with someone like in Spain and still like connect. It's really cool.
So how old are you?
I'm 24.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. My daughter's 25. She just graduated from Sac State last year. So I'm kind of hip with kids in their 20s right now. I kind of understand what you guys go through. What's it like? A day-to-day operation for a student on campus, and what do you guys go through? Like, what's it like out here? Anybody listening that maybe young and thinking about going to college or something like that? What's your, like, overall? Is it? I know my daughter would call. Sorry, I don't mean to keep going. My daughter would call, man, from Sacramento, and she'd be lonely up there, and she had to work and go to school, so she couldn't come home every day, every holiday season and stuff with her family. Yeah. So she sacrificed a lot. And I would talk to her on the phone about, think about the 25-year-old you and all that, when you're 35-year-old you and you're opening up your bathtub with your toes, right? Because you got the bathtub and stuff that you wanted, and not so much the safe there, you don't want to like just stay there because it's safe way for you to go. But I know that she was, it was hard for her, as far as being able to come home and do stuff with work. So what's it like for, from another perspective of you in school and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot of work. It's like having another job. It's a little different for me because I don't live on campus, so I like to commute. I'd rather just stay. I'm really fortunate to still be able to live with my parents, and they're both good, and we have a great relationship. So I'll commute down twice a week down here, and I'll just stack my classes like if it was high school. So currently I have 5 classes. So last semester I did 4 because I was just getting back into the things. I started college right out of high school, which was 2018. So I had 2 years of like the regular college up here, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And it was super weird for me because I do not like Zoom. Like I could not focus in my room.
Is that called Zoom fatigue? They're calling it. Yeah.
It just wasn't for me. So I took some time off. I started working, and I realized, like, you know what, I can still be learning. Like, I don't need to just be working to make money. Like, why not? If I have the opportunity, like, I'm really fortunate to get FAFSA, which really helps out, and just be able to like open my mind up to new things.
You know what you're doing right now is you're investing. You know, you're investing your time wisely right now, like you said, at your age and where you're at. And me and somebody were talking about that today in the sauna at the gym, because again, the new era, that's understanding, right? A lot of us in our era around here specifically, we had a lot of high school dads and moms. You know, a lot of us are out partying and doing that, right? So you have to make different maneuvers at that age when you start having kids at a young age, right? Where today's kids don't seem like, I'm not saying it's not there, of course it is, but I don't know if it's at the rate that we were when we were in school, right? Or growing up, and have to grow up fast because we got babies to raise, where people your age, my kid, like it's just a different era of what's important, right? Like we used to race to get our driver's license, where today's kids are a little different. So you get it. But right now it sounds like what you decided to do was invest the time that you do have to learn,
Yeah.
You know, and to figure things out and know what you want and travel. And that's so important, again, because at your age of 24, bro, you're barely learning. You're still learning.
Yeah.
So that's good that you say it that way.
Yeah, I mean, like I think at 18, I think a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I'm finally an adult, and like it definitely happened to me. I was like, oh, I'm an adult, like I can grow up now, like I can do what I want. But I was like, after a couple of years, I was just like, there's so much more to gain still. Like, why do I have to force myself to get a job already? Why do I have to force myself to like? So I personally couldn't start a family. Like I am not ready to be a dad. Like especially I don't know how. I think there's like family members, like 3 of my cousins, they're a year older than me, but they all have kids already. I'm like, I don't know how you guys could do it. There's people I know that have kids. I could not do that. I really enjoy my like alone time, just spending time with my girlfriend, and like we both go to school, so like that's just what like we like. Yeah.
Cool, man. Let's see if Scotty has a question. See if his phone's working. I'll give him a second.
I just wanted to know if you wanted to go over events, upcoming events.
Yeah, we could drop the next 2 real quick. You know, let's go ahead and drop some events. So what we do on our podcast is we try to spend 1 week talking about events and what we're biting and what we've been doing, kind of like a recap into what's coming up. And then the next week we have an interview. So you landed on interview day, so we're interviewing, but why not throw a couple of plugs in there for our events? What do you got, Scotty? Let's see. Let's go ahead and start with open house. There it is. Bam. Open house. So again, you're going to help us promote this, right? We're going to get you going on this. How much time do you have today?
I'm free.
Oh, hell yeah. So we'll go good. All right. So we're going to go over this and we'll get you set up on it. Man, I'm excited. Because, you know, honestly, Scotty and listeners, I get a kick out of this stuff. Marshall loves walking around and showing so me and Marshall's program guy, and I'm good at the program, don't get me wrong, but I have to be the business guy, right? So I'm in there typing away and fires and, you know, strategies, working it right. So he gets to be the good cop. I just seen that family come in, but teaching and developing my staff and showing the vision and the dream. So that way when we hit them, that way when you see the open house, man, and you're here, you're like, yeah, I'm tied into that. Like you ownership of that. So yeah. I love it. That way you're like, no, this is yours too. This is our baby. You know what I mean? This ain't Kevin's baby. This is our baby. Yeah. And then when you take it away from here, I hope you kill it. Wherever you go, man, I want you to be standing up there giving your valedictorian speech and be like, I want they Kev. I want they Kev for plug-in. So anyway, we're gonna get him trained up today. I know I got excited. So our open house is March 28th from 4 to 6. And this is for our 2-year anniversary. Again, we made it, man. 2 years right here so far in this economy and whatever. And, you know, to lay this to our listeners, we did a strategic plan in our budget, man, and it was over 200,000. We ran the whole program last year for under 90,000. But I had a job on a boat, so our staffing is down. But as many adventures as we went on, developing the Guppy Ranger program, partnership development, hiring staff, bringing in Fernando, the Goodwill, you guys, like it's been an incredible year. So that's what we're going to highlight this time. So that's important. I don't know where I was going with that on how we you know what we did as far as raising it, like with our fundraising and open house, and when we expose it through these programs. Again, what we did at a very limited budget, and we were able to kill it. So, but again, that way you see, well, yeah, I helped with that. You know, I got my hands in that. You know, I was
Yeah.
able to help this place succeed, so that when you go somewhere, you know, hey, anything is possible, and we could go gigantic. All right, next is our fishing derby. There it is, surf fishing derby. All fish count. This one right here, we're trying different. So again, thinking outside, it's a $10 a month pledge that they're paying for. So they'll sign up at the fishing derby, scan the QR code, go to Network for Good. We capture their data so that way they can see our weekly newsletter to see where their funding is going. We don't keep asking through a newsletter or doing a lot of asking. We like to show pictures of kids and families on the islands, at the pier, us on a boat trip, us doing our outreach. We like to really just showcase that every year. So once they sign up for us for the $10 a month, we'll have that information so they could see it, right? Stay in front of them. Then again, if we could raise, if we can get 130 people to sign up, that covers our rent. So depending on this event, it'd be cool to get 30 people out there. That'd be our goal. If we get at 30, a fourth of the total that we want to hit. So this way, again, it's different. We're asking for a monthly pledge, winner take all, no extra raffles, none of that. We put everything that we've collected. We have 2 big bags full of fishing gear, a couple of fishing poles. We got some fishing passes from Santa Barbara and HMN Landing. So it's like an $800 value in this backpack, winner take all. And instead of having a surf fishing derby where it's usually corbina, halibut, and perch are usually your top 3 fish in a surfing tournament, this one, everything counts. So if you catch a stingray that's like, 3 feet, you measure it, you could win with that one fish, So again, we wanted to open it up to everybody versus a competitive. This is more of like a charitable tournament. It's not like Tiger Woods edition at a golf tournament. This is more of a charity golf where you can just come out and hang out. But again, you believe in what we're doing. You don't mind pledging $10 a month. You love what you see us doing. You buy into the mission and the vision. And again, $10 a month pledge isn't, because you believe in what we're doing. You're not out there to win a tournament. You're out there because, again, you want to give to this program.
Yeah.
So that's it right there. Scotty, the 28th open house, 4 to 6, open to everybody. And our fishing derby. And again, if it's successful. And that's one thing that we teach here too, Scotty, is what does success look like? Is it 100 people on the pier, or is it 30 people having a great time learning, or the pictures look great because there's 100? So what is success based on? If you go if you do one of these expos, right? Did we get leads? We got cards. We got them in there. It might take a year to get a lead that works, right? You develop a partnership like with you guys, right? So let me just run this down real quick, Scotty, without boring people. Is that there's a guy named Jose that's the communication teacher. He knows Ashley from the chamber. Ashley told him, come down here and meet Kevin. Jose comes in here. He introduced me to Jennifer. We call Jennifer on the phone from here. Next thing you know, I'm signed up for CI Serves, and now we have interns for our third semester. So that going to those chamber events, you pay $40 a month. Is it worth it? You're getting leads. You never know when that lead's going to pay off. So again, teaching you that what is success. So again, if we have 30 people show up, that's a success. That's plenty. Yeah. 1/4 of the people, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to say, man, we wanted all 130, because again, we don't want blame or what I'm saying, like realistic expectation, but also saying, hey, at least we pulled off one of these fundraisers. Yeah. That in itself is a success, right? Again. Anyway, I don't want to keep rambling. I'll stop right there. What do you think?
No, yeah, that's awesome. It all makes sense. And yeah, I definitely agree. It's just like I enjoy education, and I enjoy like whether that be like teaching people fishing or teaching people like I love soccer, like helping people with soccer and stuff like that, or just talking that. It's great. Like I agree. I'd rather have 30 people that are invested emotionally and want to be there than 100 people where like it's too many people that don't want to be there.
Or just you're not getting like what for us on that side of the kid fishing day when we have 100 people. Is just the fact that we like to teach and stuff, but when you have that many baits, you got to cut the bait and put it on there. You're kind of just like, here, let me cast it out, boom, next person,
Yeah.
Versus, and it's but one side of that, when we did have 100 people at the last kid day, majority of people walked up that had been there before and knew what to do. So that's the cool part of it, right? You're getting looking at the positive of it. But I'm just saying, I'm just saying that I know from a distance, success could look like, again, you go up to Runnymede Pier or you're coming around the corner and you see the pier from the middle of the pier to the end on the fourth Sunday, you're like, wow, the guppies are up there. It looks great, but it could be a little chaotic. So it doesn't always have to be and we'll finish with that, Scotty, for today. We always try to leave it a positive message, is that you don't need all of the glitz and glamour. You don't need, again, all the spectacle. You don't need all the trumpets playing and all the big, glamour for it to be successful, right? In your own sport. And that's the best way to look at it. If you got to lose, again, as a trainer, you got to lose 20 pounds, right? That's your goal. But you should be happy when you hit 5. Then you should be happy when you hit 8. And then when you hit 10, be just as happy, right? If you're only looking at when I get to 20, I'll be happy. You got to be the success of, again, because in the process of that, you probably changed your diet. You have changed your routine to go to the gym a little bit more often, right? So again, you teach yourself some new disciplines. So that all should be part of it, not just, hey, look it up, 20 pounds, I hit my goal. But you should be happy with the success along the way, every 2 or 3 pounds, and the new way you feel about yourself and the way you look, and you get to go buy new clothes because your belt don't fit. Like all those little successes should be celebrated as well, besides just the big one. And even when you celebrate, it could be, meaningful for you without, that kind of shit. Yeah. But hey, when you do win, it's not nothing wrong holding up the championship belt either and be like, look, checker flags, baby. Checker flags, baby. But you know why you do that? Because that way you could say all those strategies, all that planning, all those people from the bottom up, all that stuff is how we got here. Here's a team celebration, right? So it is okay to celebrate success, but don't wait till you get to the grand thing for do you think that it was successful? Go ahead, talk to Scotty.
I like the music. Let's see if we can if you can hear me,
Scotty.
I don't. I'm pretty good at this point. I just wanted to thank you and let you know you did a great job. You're is this your first podcast?
I think Scotty's frozen.
Am I frozen? Yeah. You know what, folks? We're just gonna call it a day. Kevin, we're just gonna call it a day. I'll close out the show. We'll edit the audio podcast so it'll be a lot smoother. So if you get tired of the jerkiness of the video, go to the audio. And I know I'm cutting out, so we'll just say goodbye.
I think I was telling
Don't do that.
Bye.
All right, here we go. See you later.
Hold on, let's get.
And before Kevin goes, as Kevin just left, I just wanted to say sorry for the video glitches. We did fine last week. It was weird. This week we had a little trouble, but he's out there at the Guppy Center where they don't have the greatest internet, but at least you got to see Eduardo. That was his first interview for the Guppy Center program. Looks like he's going to be great. It looks like Kevin's very excited to have him, and it looks like Eduardo's very excited to be there as well. So folks, we'll see you again soon. See you next week. And thanks as always for listening to the Real Radio with Community Kev. Bye.